Have you ever felt like you're living in the middle of a storm? Calm on the outside, but chaos within? Pressure from work, expectations from others, endless comparisons, draining you, though you can't explain why. But there is one place you can always return to: yourself. In this noisy world, Stoicism doesn't teach you to run away. It teaches you to stand still, grounded, aware, emotionally steady, so nothing can pull you away from the center of your peace. This isn't just theory. This video is a journey through 11 powerful chapters, each one a step toward resilience, emotional mastery, reduced anxiety, and most importantly, living as a free being, unbound by the chaos of the world around you. If you have the courage to look inward, this is where your journey begins. Nameless exhaustion, when you lose control of your emotions. There are days when you've done nothing wrong, yet you feel completely drained. Why is that? Have you ever felt like you're alive but not truly present? Each day passes like an undertow, pulling you along through reminders, expectations, and judgmental gazes. Even as you try to please everyone, you feel yourself slowly being drained, little by little, and then you begin to blame yourself. Am I weak? Do I need to try harder? But perhaps the problem isn't you. The problem is this: you've let your emotions be manipulated by things that don't deserve to control you. We're taught to try harder, to care more, to show up, but rarely are we taught how to preserve our emotional energy for ourselves. The world is too loud, but you've never had the chance to truly listen to yourself. What exhausts you isn't what you do, but what you silently endure every single day. Try stopping for a moment. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? No judgment, no justification. Just be honest with yourself. Do you realize this? Most of our exhaustion doesn't come from our actions, but from unprocessed emotions. Anger that's been suppressed, pain that goes unspoken, anxiety hidden behind a polite smile. Stoicism doesn't teach you to run away from emotions. It teaches you to face them, understand them, and then let them go. You can't control the way others look at you. You can't stop the world from changing. But you can control one thing: how you respond. And in that moment, the moment you choose calm over anger, the moment you choose silent observation over impulsive reaction, that is when you begin to master your emotions. Strength is not the absence of emotion, but the refusal to be ruled by it. Preserve a part of your energy each day, just to listen to yourself. Because sometimes, peace doesn't lie in how much you accomplish, but in how much of your mind you've kept for yourself. Reclaiming stillness in the mind. Have you ever felt like you're living in a crowded train station? The sound of footsteps, screeching trains, names being called over loudspeakers. And in the middle of all that noise, you can no longer hear yourself? Modern life keeps us in a state of being constantly on. Notifications on, reflexes on. Even our anxieties switched on over things that haven't even happened yet. Each morning, you reach for your phone before you even connect with your own breath. And then what happens when your mind is never truly still? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Withdraw into yourself." Nowhere can a person find more quiet and peace than within their own soul. But what does withdraw mean? Does it mean turning your back on the world? Running away? No. It's the bravest act when you choose to pause in a world that keeps pushing you to move forward. Stillness is not an escape. Stillness is where you meet yourself again. In a world that constantly screams what you must do, what you must achieve, what you must become, silence becomes a form of rebellion. A declaration: I am not a product of this chaos. I am the one navigating it. Try this one morning. Don't rush to check your phone. Just sit quietly, breathe deeply, and listen to the sound inside your own mind. you will realize it's not the world that's wearing you out. It's the fact that you've never truly allowed yourself to rest. Silence, not to surrender, but to take command. You cannot defeat an enemy you've never stopped to face. And sometimes, that enemy is the endless stream of thoughts, the automatic reactions. Silence doesn't mean you stop thinking. It means you step outside the current of thought, like standing on the riverbank, watching the water flow, instead of jumping in and being swept away. From that place of observation, you begin to discern what you can actually control and what illusions you're clinging to out of fear. Epictetus said, "We are not disturbed by events, but by our judgments about them." Stillness is the first step to recalibrating those judgments. From stillness to freedom, people often think stillness comes from a place, a peaceful countryside, a soundproof room. But in truth, stillness is a state of being. It lives within you. And when you learn to summon it, wherever you are, that's when you begin to taste true freedom. Freedom from the pressure to respond immediately. Freedom from the habit of checking everything for fear of missing out. Freedom from the need to prove your worth through constant busyness. Stoic practice of the day, the moment of non-reaction. When a message arrives, don't reply instantly. When someone annoys you, don't immediately strike back. When fear arises, don't fight it. Just pause, observe, breathe, watch it pass. That moment, the moment of non-reaction, is where you reclaim your power. You don't need to escape to a mountain or become a monk to find peace. You only need to learn how to keep your inner world quiet amidst the noise. That's not weakness. That is the peak of resilient thinking. Ask yourself, if you can stay still in the heart of the storm, what else is there left to fear? Facing the darkness. Resilience doesn't come from the light. You are at your strongest when everything seems to fall apart. Not when you're at the top. Not when you're being applauded or admired, but when you stand alone in the dark and don't retreat. Adversity doesn't make you weaker. It reveals who you are. Stoic philosophy never promised that life would be easy. It doesn't try to hide the harshness of the world. It teaches you how to stand firm within it. A sail never learns to stretch without the wind. A sailor never learns to navigate without the storm. Maybe you're going through something. Loss, failure, stagnation. Maybe you don't speak of it, but you carry it in your heart every day. And you wonder, how am I supposed to get through this? Stoicism doesn't tell you to be tough. It teaches you to be soft in the right places. Strength isn't about hiding your emotions. It's about being able to embrace pain with clarity. Not running from fear, but looking it in the eye. Not denying your wounds, but learning to tend to them from within. Not pretending to be fine, but accepting that you're learning to be resilient. Seneca once said, "We cannot choose what happens to us, but we can always choose how we respond." And that response is where resilience is born. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding pain, but from surviving it with awareness, integrity, and without bitterness. A person who has lost everything, who has been betrayed, who has stood with empty hands, yet keeps calm and refuses to become a victim of fate. That is a warrior. You can be that person. No armor needed, no sword or shield, just a mind that does not surrender. Stoic practice of the day, write down the worst and accept it. Sit down. Grab a pen and paper. Write out what you fear the most right now. Don't avoid it. Don't sugarcoat it. Be honest. If this happens, what will become of me? Then answer, what can I control? What can I learn from it? Who will I become after walking through it? When you dare to look directly at what scares you, it no longer controls you. Resilience isn't the absence of pain. It's not letting pain make you lose your way. Remember, no one becomes great by avoiding suffering. Every strong soul you admire was forged in fire, and so will you be. If today you're in the dark, don't despair, because it is precisely in the darkest place that your eyes begin to see the light from within, the light of resilience, the light that is yours, the art of saying no when no is a loving answer to yourself. Have you ever felt exhausted for no clear reason? Your schedule is packed, messages waiting to be answered, invitations you can't seem to decline. You say yes too often and no too little, until one day you realize you've lost touch with yourself. Stoicism teaches us a lesson few are willing to learn. No is a sacred word. It's not just about rejecting others. It's how you protect your mental energy, preserve your inner peace, and reshape your life around what truly matters to you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" A simple question, but one that can change your entire life. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something more meaningful. You say yes to the party invite, but miss the quiet time you needed to recharge. You say yes to responsibilities pushed onto you, but forget your own goals. You say yes to avoid disappointing others and end up crossing your boundaries. And gradually, you're no longer yourself. Saying no is not selfish. It is mental discipline. In Stoicism, self-control is a core virtue. A Stoic doesn't aim to please everyone. They live by what they can control, their thoughts, choices, and inner values. You cannot please the world, and you don't need to. Stoic practice of the day. Write down 3 things you need to say no to protect yourself. An appointment you're dreading. A favor that makes you feel taken advantage of. A habit that's quietly draining your spirit. Write them down, then read them back slowly. You owe no one an apology for protecting your boundaries. True freedom doesn't come from having more choices. It comes from knowing what's worth choosing and daring to reject the rest. When you know how to say no, you begin to live your own life. You have more time for what truly matters. A quiet morning to meditate, a heartfelt journal entry, a moment of still breathing, unrushed, unforced. You begin to reclaim your clarity, your control, and the quiet pride of being yourself without needing permission. And if someone doesn't understand, let them go. Not everyone is meant to walk with you on your growth journey, but you'll be surprised. When you live true to yourself, you attract others who do the same. Say no to what harms you. Say no to roles that aren't meant for you. Say no so you can say yes to the life you deserve. Mastering the mind. When negative thoughts no longer control you, have you ever felt like your own mind was the enemy? A small comment suddenly magnified into deep hurt. A minor failure turned into lasting shame. A cold glance, enough to ruin your entire day. No one did anything to you, but your mind replayed it 1,000 times. Sometimes, things that didn't even happen. In Stoic philosophy, the greatest source of suffering isn't the outside world. It's the thoughts we don't control. Epictetus once said, "It's not the events that disturb us, but how we think about them." This quote, though it sounds simple, is a golden key. A key that can lead you out of the maze of anxiety, insecurity, and fear. Your mind isn't the truth. It's a habit. If you're used to reacting with worry, doubt, or panic, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been programmed that way. And like any program, it can be rewritten. The moment you learn to observe your thoughts instead of believing them, you begin to take back control of your life. Try this small practice right now. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Notice what your mind is saying. Is it, "I'm not good enough, people will judge me, I'm going to fail"? Now ask yourself, is this 100% true? What would happen if I didn't believe this thought? You just did something powerful. You separated yourself from the thought instead of being swept away by it. A Stoic doesn't try to control the world. They control how they think about the world. That's why they can stay calm in chaos. They don't fake positivity. They shift perspective. And in doing so, shift their emotions. You can do that too. Stoic practice of the day. Thought journaling each evening. Write down one negative thought you had today, the emotion it created. A challenge. Is this definitely true? A new response. How can I view this in a way that protects my peace? Just 5 minutes a day, but it's a powerful mental medicine. It helps you take charge of your emotions, transform your reactions, and most importantly, treat anxiety at its root. Mastering your mind doesn't mean you stop having negative thoughts. It means they stop having power over you. You are not those whispering voices that blame, judge, or belittle. You are the one who gets to decide whether to believe them or not. Your mind is like a garden. You can let weeds grow wild, or you can start planting seeds of peace, resilience, and wisdom, turning loneliness into a quiet source of strength. Have you ever stood in a crowded room and still felt a suffocating kind of loneliness? No one ignored you. No one intentionally excluded you. But inside, a voice whispered, "I feel empty. No one truly understands me." Loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about not feeling connected to yourself. Stoicism doesn't fear loneliness. It embraces it as a gateway into the inner self. Marcus Aurelius, one of the busiest emperors in history, once wrote by night, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Strange, isn't it? When you stop looking for connections out there, you begin to hear the deepest voice inside you. Loneliness, when seen correctly, doesn't weaken you. It trains you. Picture a warrior forging his sword alone in the forest. No applause, no admiration, just the sound of steel against stone and steady discipline. It's in those quiet months that he forges his greatest weapon, a disciplined mind. You don't need to run from loneliness. You need to step into it, intentionally and purposefully, instead of frantically texting, scrolling, or searching for someone to fill the void. Try this. Turn off all devices for 1 hour a day. Take a walk alone. No headphones, no phone. Sit in silence and write out whatever thoughts are flowing through your mind. At first, it will feel uncomfortable, restless, cold, empty. But stay long enough, and you'll begin to hear more clearly the sound of your own heart. Dreams that have been buried, and pain that needs your attention, not your avoidance. A Stoic isn't someone who cuts themselves off from the world. They're someone who no longer needs the world to define their worth. The Stoic finds value in solitude because they know silence never killed anyone, but running from yourself, that could. The more comfortable you are with solitude, the harder it is for anyone to manipulate you. You don't need someone to like you. You don't need to become someone just to be accepted. You are enough in your quiet presence. Stoic practice of the day. 1 hour without the world. Choose 1 hour a day to disconnect from everyone. No texts, no social media, no music. Just you, a pen, a notebook, and a few questions. What am I really feeling right now? What scares me about being alone? If no one expected anything from me, how would I live? Loneliness, if you're brave enough to face it, becomes the place where you discover something priceless, yourself. Freedom isn't about being surrounded by people. Freedom is when you can sit alone and not feel like anything is missing. You've crossed the threshold of stillness. The next step is learning to protect your boundaries and say no to what no longer fits, with firmness, but without losing peace. Saying no with calm, setting boundaries without causing harm. Have you ever said yes just to please someone while your heart was screaming no? You helped. You agreed. You sacrificed time and energy. And by nightfall, you were the one left behind, drained and angry. You don't hate them. You hate the feeling of being used and not daring to push back. Stoicism teaches this. Every time you say yes when your heart says no, you are rejecting yourself. Seneca once wrote, "If you do not set boundaries for yourself, the world will do it for you." Saying no doesn't make you selfish. On the contrary, it's the bravest act to protect peace of mind. No doesn't need to be sharp. It only needs to be clear. A Stoic doesn't react emotionally. They don't need to yell, get angry, or give lengthy explanations. They simply say, "Thank you, but I can't. That doesn't align with my values. I need time for things that matter more." A refusal doesn't always need a justification. Calmness is the strongest declaration of all. Learning to say no is learning to choose what deserves your energy. You only have so much energy each day. Will you spend it chasing other people's dreams or building your own inner world? A dramatic scenario, a small choice, a big outcome. You're invited to a gathering, but you're completely exhausted after a long week. Part of you wants to be polite, but another part desperately needs a quiet night to recover. You're standing at a fork in the road, pleasing others, or protecting your mental health. If you say yes, you'll smile on the outside, but crack on the inside. If you say no, someone may be disappointed, but you'll keep your self-respect. And over time, you teach others how they're allowed to treat you. Stoic practice of the day, boundary journaling each night. Write down, what did you say no to today? How did it feel to do that? What did you say yes to, even though you didn't want to? After a week, you'll begin to see. Most of your anxiety doesn't come from what you refused, but from what you agreed to under pressure. You don't need to raise your voice to defend your boundaries. You just need to stand still and not move. You weren't born to be the nice one. You were born to live in truth, and that truth is worth protecting, even with a quiet refusal. Peace comes with money. Financial thinking through a Stoic lens. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, heart racing, mind spinning around? One question: will I have enough this month? What if something happens? You're not alone. Financial insecurity is one of the biggest causes of modern anxiety. But the scariest part isn't the number in your account. It's the feeling of being out of control. Stoicism doesn't teach you how to get rich. It teaches you how to master money so you're not enslaved by it. Epictetus once said, "True wealth is not about having more, but needing less." This isn't a call to abandon material comfort. It's a reminder you can have less and also worry less, sleep better, live more deeply. A lesson from financial failure. The first once watched a close friend drown in credit card debt after months of impulsive spending. From being flashy in public, he quietly disappeared because no one saw. The bright social media smile was hiding countless sleepless nights over money. He once told me, "I'm not afraid of being broke. I'm afraid of the helplessness that comes from feeling like I can't control anything." Since then, he's lived by Stoic principles. Only spend on what truly matters. Always set aside a small emergency fund. Never buy to impress, only buy to serve core values. And something amazing happened. He didn't just have more money, he had more peace. The Stoic mindset around money isn't about living poor. It's about living with intention. When you spend just to soothe a temporary emotion, you're buying anxiety on installment. But when you ask, does this serve my long-term peace? Does it support the life I want to build? Then you're buying freedom. Stoic practice of the day. 3 questions before every purchase. Before you swipe your card or click buy now, pause for 5 seconds and ask, do I truly need this? Or am I filling an emotional gap? Will this help me become a better version of myself? If I don't buy this, will I regret it a month from now? Your answers will show you. Are you controlling your money? Or is money controlling your emotions? A simple, planned, and conscious life. is always less stressful than a flashy, hollow one. Seneca once wrote, "The richest person is the one who can live happily with the least." When you control your finances, you control your mind. And when your mind is strong, the storms of the world become nothing but passing winds. You don't need more to live peacefully. You just need less and clarity about what truly matters. Remaining calm in the storm, mastering your emotions without losing yourself. There is a kind of strength that is quiet. It doesn't come from muscles. It doesn't come from power. It comes from the ability to stay calm while everything around you is falling apart. Have you ever wanted to scream in an argument, but instead swallowed your anger, trembled from a failure, but still smiled and carried on like nothing happened? If so, congratulations. You've just touched a rare kind of resilience, inner strength. Stoicism doesn't tell you to suppress emotion. It teaches you to face it, understand it, then master it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have the power to not have an opinion. Things depend on you." It may sound simple, but when you're in situations like these, it becomes revolutionary. When someone criticizes you in public, when you're betrayed by someone close, when the world turns its back, and all you have left is yourself. Anger can make you lose trust in everyone. Sadness can leave you lost in the dark. But only by choosing calmness can you find your way back to the light. The story, The Soldier Before Execution. There's an old Roman tale. A soldier was sentenced to death for disobedience. When asked for his final words, he simply said, "I blame no one. If I'm to be executed, then I haven't done enough to prove my innocence. So I will die in silence and with honor." The old general nearby was moved to tears. He pardoned the soldier, for he had never seen such inner steadiness in the face of despair. That is the heart of Stoicism. You cannot control every event, but you can always control your response. You can choose not to react impulsively, not to be dragged into someone else's rage, not to let a temporary situation define your long-term worth. Stoic practice. The 3-second pause. Next time you feel like reacting, first 3 seconds, inhale slowly. Acknowledge the rising emotion. Next 3 seconds, ask yourself, where will this reaction lead me? If it leads to harm, regret, or conflict, stay silent. Observe. Don't explode. Because calmness is not weakness. It's the chosen response of someone strong and wise. Seneca once wrote, "Emotions rise like waves, but reason is the shore that keeps us from being swept away." You may lose your job, your money, even your reputation, but if you can keep your calm, you never lose yourself. To master emotion is not to hide it. It is to let it move through you, not tear through you. And that's what makes you truly resilient, unshaken by pressure, unmanipulated by emotion, unbroken by chaos. Stillness in a noisy world. When you listen to yourself, the world loses its grip. Have you ever felt lost, even in the middle of a crowd? Everyone's talking, laughing, shouting to be heard, but you remain silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you've started to realize the noise out there can't fill the chaos within. Stoicism doesn't tell you to avoid the world. It teaches you to live in it without being consumed by it. Today, noise isn't just traffic, arguments, or nonstop headlines. It's the voice of pressure, of expectations, of hurry up, and you're not good enough. We chase trends, compare ourselves to others, and slowly forget the smallest, yet most important voice of all, the voice within. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter retreat than in his own soul." Imagine this. Someone stands in the middle of a bustling market, vendors shouting, music blaring, arguments echoing. But instead of getting caught up in it, he closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and listens to the one thing no one can take from him, his inner stillness. That's not escape. That's a rare power. The ability to filter what's allowed into your mind. Stoic practice, inner space each morning, or whenever you feel overwhelmed. Try this. Turn off all devices for 10 minutes. Sit alone. No goals, no expectations. Listen to your breath. Then ask, what is occupying my mind today? If the answer is social media, envy, fear, expectations, gently let them go. You don't need to chase stillness. You just need to stop clinging to the noise. Stillness isn't a void. It's where everything that truly matters begins to speak. You may live in the city, where horns and deadlines blend into one chaotic symphony. But if your heart is steady like stone, the world can scream, and you'll be still like a lake. Try going a day without reacting quickly, without answering right away, without trying to prove anything. Just observe, listen, and you'll realize you don't need to fight the world to survive. You only need to know how to stand still without being swept away. The scariest thing isn't the noise out there. It's when you stop hearing your own voice. Inner freedom, the quiet yet strongest battle. It's not the world that traps you. It's how you think about it. Imagine this. You wake up in a small room. No one beside you. No job waiting. No one watching you. Just you and yourself. The question is, do you feel peace? Or do you instantly feel lack, loneliness, anxiety, as if you can't stand being with yourself? Stoicism never promises a perfect world. It teaches you to master yourself, so no one else can master you. We often believe freedom is doing whatever we want, saying whatever we feel, living without limits. But that's an illusion, because if you can't control your anger, if you can't stop comparing, if you're wounded by a single careless word, you're not free. You're a prisoner of your own emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have the right to not have an opinion. You don't need to react to everything." And that's the peak of inner freedom, choosing what gets access to your mental space. Final story. Awakening in silence, a Stoic soldier was once imprisoned for many years. Each day, he was interrogated, mocked. When asked what he feared most, he replied, "I fear only one thing, losing myself." They laughed. He didn't respond. They beat him. He didn't hate, because he knew true freedom isn't being able to go where you want. It's that no one can pull your mind off center. So how do you reach inner freedom? 1. Limit expectations. Don't expect others to understand, love, or behave as you wish. They have the right to be themselves, and you have the right to remain peaceful, untouched. 2. Master your reactions. It's not others' insults that have power. It's your anger that gives it to them. React less. Observe more. 3. Focus only on what you can control, your health, your thoughts, your actions. The rest, weather, people, society, let it pass. Like rain on the window. Don't open yourself to it. And one day, you will stand in the storm, but your heart will be still like a lake. Not because life got easier, but because you grew stronger, steadier, freer. Freedom isn't escaping the world. It's standing within it, without being ruled by it. And that only you can give to yourself. This 11-part journey ends here. But the journey of self-mastery is never over. You don't need to be a philosopher. Just take one step each day toward your more resilient, peaceful, and awake self. If you've made it this far, leave a commitment in the comments below. I choose to master myself instead of being a victim of the world. And if this video helped you see your path more clearly, share it, because somewhere out there, someone else is trying to find themselves too. Thank you for listening. The Stoic path doesn't begin with wisdom. It begins with one simple decision: stop running, start facing,